Hello, and a warm welcome to our show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. And we're delighted to have back as our guest Cuban Canadian journalist Javier Clavelo. Ciao, Javier. Lovely to see you, and thank you for joining us.
Hola, Anna. Thank you so much for having me. Delighted to be here, and of course, this is our peak season, Olympic year. Happy to join you, and as we get gear up and get ready for Paris.
Absolutely. And as we review what's been happening in the past 10 days, and then, as you say, look forward to Paris. So let's go straight to London. The Diamond League meeting took place on 20 July with a total of 5 world leads and 7 meet records, some of which of very high quality. So Javier, which athletes impressed you the most at the London Diamond League meeting?
Well, this was certainly a delight, and of course, that's an indication of how hot the Olympic Games will be, at least in the disciplines that were contested that beautiful Saturday in another Olympic city. And of course, European athletes were in a full display with Matthew Hudson-Smith improving his own, becoming the first European under 44 seconds. And impressive when you saw that run and it said, is this going to let up? Reminded me of the World Championship final, but he did not let up and he actually pushed his closest, chasers. Here we got on the photo, Norwood of the United States. And of course, we have making his Diamond League debut here to his right of Christopher Morales Williams of Canada. But it was quite an impressive run at 43.74. And kudos to Norwood as well, an excellent season performer. And also former World Indoor champion Joreen Richards of Trinidad and Tobago, that was really compensated with both excellent personal bests. And that gears up very well for Paris in the quarter mile event. Remember, this event is held by the NACAC athlete from the Bahamas, the defending Olympic champion, Steve Gardiner. So it's going to be an electrifying quarter mile, one lap race in Paris. I'm excited for that, Anna. There were also other great performances, not only in the 400 meters. I would say European athletes were really, really inspired. They had the European Championships early June, so they're really being, gearing up and getting ready for the big scene, also on European soil in a few days from now. I'm talking also about, Kayla Hutchinson. That was obviously, she was really supported, and we had a 1-2-3, a British sweep with an impressive array of personal bests, including for her moving up and now into the 154 territory. And then, obviously a brave run as well by Jima Ricci, her compatriot as well, really pushed her to the limit. And of course, it's brilliant to see that British record fall, improve her own record and moving to 154 territory. That is a very exclusive group, Anna, in the women's 800 meters, including our good friend Anna Fidelia Quirot. That is a very exclusive group, and that bodes very well for this young British athlete, and even more so doing that on home soil. I want to switch back as well.
Actually,
to the
on the
Yes,
women's
go ahead.
800, it was
Yes.
good to finally see a top-level mark because that had been stagnating for some time, like the men. Then the men totally rewrote the world all-time lists in the previous 2 Diamond League meetings. And now the women, so that's also good to see.
Oh, absolutely. I concurred. And I think we had to wait until pretty much the last, the season closing meet at Diamond League final in Eugene last year to see the 2020 Olympic champion Athen Mu with that very high caliber race. But since then, as you mentioned, we've seen more conservative first laps moving into 157 territory. But this is certainly the motivation of competing at home for Hutchinson as well, for the entire British contingent, more of a see-off before they actually change their focus on Paris. There were also, again, as you mentioned, 5 world leads. I also have to, going back to the one lap race, the 400 meters, this time around among women, with Nikisha Price of Jamaica. She has had a very successful collegiate or university season in the United States, and now as she gets ready to represent Jamaica on the big stage in Paris, she unleashed an excellent performance, did not let up, and had a great, obviously, rivalry with Kaczmarek of Poland here to her left. And of course, Nikisha Price was really well compensated here with an excellent national record of 48.57. Again, a very exclusive group under the 48.70. That wins the Olympic golds, even dating back to the 1980s. So this is a very exclusive group. And then this is going to be obviously another event to watch. The world champion, rather, Marilady Paulino, was absent, and I think she's another 48-second performer. But these two ladies are not alone. There is quite a high caliber, number of other female athletes who could well be contesting. The question will be, again, we're not talking about Paris right now. We're sticking to London, but again, 1-day race versus 3 races over 4 days. But again, it bodes very well for Nikisha Price and the whole Jamaican contingent to maybe get that elusive goal in the women's 400. And Anna, that's in a nutshell. I think obviously we can look at great performances, of course, and the men's 100. That was a bit of a nice test as well with our 3 global medals from last year's World Championships, including, of course, triple world champion Noah Lyles, setting a personal best at 9:81. He's had a terrific season, working very hard on his start on his first 60 meters. An indication of that, of course, with performance at the World Indoor Champs in Glasgow. Heading back to London, of course, the city that he loves so much. He couldn't get ready for Monaco a few days earlier, but again, that was an indication that he's ready to tackle what many of us agree that will be the most difficult of his 2 sprinting events that he wants to win in Paris. Obviously, being the 3-time world champion over 200. Letsile Tebogo, obviously very fine runner. And Akani Simbine, I'm really hoping for the South African. He's been really so close to the podium, and I'm hoping that will be his time for Akani Simbine, the South African. Very close to the podium, and I think that 9:86 in London is a good indication that he will be another top contender. Hopefully, that will translate into an actual global medal for the South African.
I would love that. And how about Femke?
Well, Femke Bol, I mean, obviously, she, for those who were able to see her dipping under 51 seconds in Switzerland 6 days earlier, and then now another stellar performance at 51:30. Femke Bol, that also, if you look at how the top 2 athletes, the best 2 athletes that we've ever had over the 400-meter hurdles, world record holder and defending Olympic champion, obviously, Sidney McLaughlin, Livroni of the United States, and now Femke Bol moving up into that 50-second territory is going to be quite a cracker. And I would say for both athletes is an indication they have a very good flat speed as well. If you look at their both personal bests, that's going to be another delight. And like I said, it's an indication. It's not just about these 2 athletes and certainly Femke, but how they are really pushing the remaining 6 or 7 athletes that are in whichever race they're in to really do their best and again enter or charter new territory in the 400-meter hurdles. Not just among men. We saw that in Tokyo in 2021, the entire 2021 season. But now the women will also like to be on the spotlight. And McLaughlin Livroni will certainly have great company and certainly a lot of rivalry in vying for an Olympic title defense.
Definitely. You're really amazing, and it makes your mouth water looking ahead to Paris.
Absolutely, especially for those of us in the Americas, we have to contend with a 6-hour time difference. But nevertheless, you will be compensated with what a treat over the next few days. Looking forward to that for sure.
Mm-hmm. So let me add 3 more performances: 2 among the men and 2 among the men and 1 the women. Among the women, I was impressed with Gabby Thomas's win over Julian Alfred into a headwind of 0.9 meters per second. and they ran 21.82 and 21.86. Amazing. And Thomas unleashed a devastating kick to take that win. She now boasts the 3 best marks of 2023 on the distance. And among the men, I wish to highlight the victory by my compatriot Leonardo Fabri in the shot put with 22 meters 52 in the 5th attempt, marking an important win over world record holder Ryan Krauser, who threw 22.37. Now, Krauser, of course, had beaten Leo into 2nd place at the World Championships in Budapest last year. But since then, Fabri has hugely improved, and he's now really consistent above 22 meters 50. And in fact, in London, he became the first European athlete since 2018 to beat Krauser. So yes, Krauser has health issues, but still, Leo's regularity at top level is impressive.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And finally, I was delighted with the performance by former athlete refugee Dominic Lokinyomolobalu, winning the 3,000 meters in a world-leading 7:27.68 ahead of Grant Fisher and Edwin Kurgat. Now, Dominic had first shot to fame at the Stockholm Diamond League in 2022, surprising everybody with a win over 3,000 meters. He has since become the European champion over 10,000 in June, plus has a bronze in the 5,000. And he's now really cemented his position as an athlete to be reckoned with. So as Javier mentioned, Matthew Hudson-Smith said, well, he destroyed his own European record over 400 meters. And there was also a second area record in London by the Australian women's 4x100 meter relay with Ella Connolly, Bree Masters, Kirsty Edwards, and Tori Lewis, who clocked 42.48. So congratulations, ladies. Now, one day before London, the Holloway Pro Classic took place in Gainesville, Florida, and the showstopper there was 16-year-old Quincy Wilson, who we see here in the photo from the US trials. Quincy set his 3rd World Under 18 best in a month, bringing the mark to a stunning 44.20, a performance which ranks him number 10 among the seniors and number 2 of all time among the under 20. So really, really amazing. What a talent. And we'll be speaking more about Quincy later in the show. And together with this great new talent emerging, there is another athlete now aged 34 who took to the track for the very last time before hanging up his spikes. And I'd really like to pay tribute to triple jumper Christian Taylor, who competed for the last time in a city where he had his training base for many years. Taylor is second only to world record holder Jonathan Edwards. He boasts a best of 18:21 set in Beijing when winning the World Championships, which is only 8 centimeters behind Edwards. He was the dominant athlete in the event between 2012 and 2019 and is double Olympic champion, 4 times world champion in an era, let's not forget, where there were other huge talents such as Pedro Pichardo, Will Clay, and Teddy Tango. Taylor's career included serious injuries. He had first to learn to change his takeoff leg. Now, he had been taking off his left leg until 2012, but then he was diagnosed with severe patellar tendinitis and he had to learn to jump off his right leg, which is really quite a feat. And in 2021, 1 month before the US trials for the Tokyo Olympics, he tore his Achilles tendon. But Taylor did not want to end his career like that, so he came back to the sport he loved. He never returned to his top level. His best mark since the injury was 16 meters 89 in April of last year. And his efforts in June to make a third US Olympic team did not pay off. But Taylor remains an athlete with a stunning career record. Let's take a look. 2 times Olympic champion in 2012 and 2016, 4 times world champion in 11, 15, 17, and 19. He had 2 World Cup wins in the triple jump, but also in the 4x400 mixed relay. And in fact, he was great as well over the 400 and ran several international competitions. He was in the team for the inaugural World Relays in the Bahamas in 2014. In 2010, he had won 2 NACAC under 23 titles in the triple jump and the long jump. He was world under 20 champion in 2008 in the 4x400 relay, and had a world under 18 gold in the triple jump, as well as a bronze in the long jump. National titles, of course, in 2011 and 2012, 2 NACAC titles in 2010 and 11, and 2 NACAC indoor titles. Now, only 8 athletes have jumped over 18 meters, and Christian Taylor did it 4 times, the same number of times as world record holder Edwards. Now, he was not just a great athlete, but also someone who really cared about the sport and the athletes. And in 2019, he created the Athletics Association, an independent organization of professional athletes from around the world to advocate for athletes' rights. So now that Christian will no longer be competing, he will have more time to focus on the association. So that's good. So just thank you for everything, Christian.
And Anna, if I may say briefly, beyond his athletic accomplishments, you just mentioned, of course, what a successful career and what a fitting end to actually go back to Gainesville, where he was his base. He's such a gentleman. How he conducted himself in press conferences, how supportive he was of his fellow athletes. My best memory of Christian Taylor, beyond our mixed zone interviews, is as a captain of Team Americas for the 2018, our last Continental Cup in Ostrava. And basically, he was really supportive of the entire team. Remember, this is a composition of athletes from all over the Americas. And he was such a great delight and great support with his fellow team captain, Catherine Warwen, but the entire team and the camaraderie that, it really went beyond, nationalities. It's just, it was a delight, as you mentioned. It was not the same after that injury, but more importantly, just to pay tribute. And I'm sure how many athletes or folks that he would have inspired throughout his career. And I can't wait to see Christian to continue to play an influential role in the sport through the association in his own circle. So I can't wait to see this new chapter of Christian Taylor making new leaps for not only for the sport that he's given so much for. So again, congratulations, Christian, such a successful career, and I'm sure his name will continue to be familiar in athletic circles, not only in the Americas but around the world.
Definitely. So let's focus back on the younger generations now. On 18 to 21 July, the European Under 18 Championships were held in Banska Bystrica in Slovakia with excellent results, including 3 European Under 18 bests. Remember, it's not called a record for that age group, it's a best. 14 under 18 world leads, 15 championship best performances, and 29 European under 18 leads. So excellent edition of the competition. So 2 of those 3 European under 18 bests were set by women. To the delight of the home crowd, the very best performance came from Slovakia's Laura Krličková, who dominated the 100 hurdles, the 76.2 centimeters height, clocking 12.86 in the heats, which is the number 2 mark in the all-time under 18 list. And the next day she ran 12.97 in the final, closing well ahead of her rivals, earning the first ever European under 18 gold for the host nation. The other under 18 best among the women came from Italy's sprint medley relay. Now at this event, they contest a relay over the 100, 200, 300, and 400. So Viola Canovi, Margherita Castellani, Laura Frattaroli launched Elisa Valencin, who had dominated the 200 meters over Castellani. Valencin had a fantastic anchor leg, holding off 400-meter individual winner Anastasia Kusz of Poland. And on the men's side, the under 18 best came from Czechia's Michal Rada. Now, we've already spoken about this multi-talented youngster. This year, he has already climbed to number 5 in the under 18 all-time list in 2 indoor events, the 60-meter hurdles and the heptathlon. And in Banska Bystrica, he clocked 49.42 in the 400 hurdles to reach yet another number 5 position in the under 18 all-time list. And what made his triumph even sweeter is that his twin sister, Nina Radova, also took a clear win in the 400 hurdles with a championship best of 58 flat. So great day for Rada and Radova. Now, among the many great performances in Banska Bystrica, I would like to highlight those by 2 combined eventers, Finland's Enni Virjonen and Britain's Thea Brown, who finished first and second in the heptathlon. Now, Enni Virjonen won the event with 6,151 points, moving to number 5 in the under 18 all-time list. But both ladies also achieved some fantastic performances in individual events. Virjonen in the 100 hurdles ran in 13.12, which would have earned her a silver medal in the 100-meter hurdles final, and moves her to number 17 in the under 18 all-time list for the 100 hurdles. So really fantastic performance. And on her side, Thea Brown, she jumped 187 in the high jump, which would have won her the high jump final. Virjonen also had a fantastic performance in the javelin with 51 meters 59, which is by far the heptathlon championship record. So really great performance for the 2 ladies. Among athletes who went above and beyond, there are 3 who won 2 individual medals in Banska Bystrica. Among the men, Serbia's Aldin Chatovic achieved the best double, taking gold over 3,000 meters and silver in the 1,500 meters. Now, at 17, Chatovic already boasts 5 national senior titles, 2 outdoor and 3 indoor. So really impressive. Wow. Among the women, 2 ladies obtained a gold and a bronze medal. They were Bulgaria's Radina Velichkova with gold in the 100 meters, continuing a tradition of fast Bulgarian young female sprinters. We remember under 20 World Championship wins for Nora Ivanova and Tezdan Naimova. And Velichkova also took a bronze in the long jump. In the throws, Croatia's Vita Barbic also won a gold and a silver, and she took both medals on the same day, starting her performance with a bronze in the discus in the early afternoon and taking gold in the javelin in the evening. And finally, we need to speak about the women's hammer, one of the most high-level competitions in Banska Bystrica. We had already mentioned in our program the German duo of Clara Hegemann and Nova Kinast, and in Banska Bystrica they finished first and third, with Hegemann further improving her already great personal best. And in between them, the Ukraine's Polina Dzierozhinska, who is only 15, was only 1 centimeter behind Hegemann, 72 meters 93 to 72 meters 92. Now, Olga Nikolayenko, the communications and media manager for the Ukrainian Federation, had quoted Polina in early May as a young Ukrainian athlete to look out for. And she has since truly blossomed, improving her PB, which in May was 67.74 from the previous year, to 70 meters 39, 71.08, and finally 72.92 in Slovakia. So women's hammer really looks like it's going to have a bright future. To conclude our overview of the European Under-18 Championships, let's take a look at the medal table. That was dominated by Italy with 7 golds and a total of 15 medals, ahead of 2 countries with 4 golds, Poland and Czechia. Great Britain had 3 golds, but a total of 11 medals, same as Germany and France. And in total, 21 countries won gold and 26 won at least 1 medal. Italy also topped the placing table with 145 points, ahead of Germany with 138 and Great Britain with 110. So let's go back now to the global overview of our sport and check all the best results of the last 10 days, starting with the senior men's events. Now, performances there came mainly from the London Diamond League. So we saw Noah Lyles 981, Akani Sinbine 986, and Letsile Tebogo 988 into a 0.3 headwind. So really good performances. There was also 9.91 by Emmanuel Matadi of Liberia in Gainesville, which was a great mark. In the 200 meters, also in Gainesville, Arion Knighton, 19.92. In the 400 meters, we mentioned Matthew Hudson-Smith's European record, Vernon Norwood, 44.10, Jareem Richards, 44.18. And in Gainesville, this fabulous 44.20 by Quincy Wilson, which makes him number 10 on the season's senior all-time list, world under-18 best, and number 2 in the all-time list for the under-20s. There was also good marks by Bryce Dedmond in Gainesville and Charles Dobson in London. Over the 3,000 meters, we mentioned Dominic Lokinyomolobalu, Grant Fisher, and Edwin Kurgat in London. They moved to the top 3 spots in the season's list. And a little behind them, Telahun Haile Bekele, also just above 7:30. 400 meters, Alison Dos Santos, not quite as fast as he's been. In London, he clocked 47:18, still a very, very respectable mark. And it was good to see junior world record holder Roshan Clark coming back to top level with 47.63. And Qatar in third place in London with Ismail Dudal Abakar in 47.72. Karen McMaster, 47.81. Shot put, we mentioned Leo Fabri and Ryan Krauser. Behind them, 22 meters 13 for Peyton Otterdal and 22.03 for Joe Kovacs. Now, top performances for the men this year remained the humongous world records by Mondo Duplantis in the pole vault and Nicolas Alekna in the discus, which are worth respectively 1,333 and 1,225 points. Wow. Let's check now the best women's marks of the past 10 days. And those were also mostly from London. 200 meters, as we said, Gabby Thomas and Julian Alfred. Dina Asher-Smith was third there with 22.07. Great 400 meters with Nikisha Price and Natalia Kaczmarek, who further improves her national record, which she had taken in Rome from the great Irena Shevchinska. 800 meters, Keely Hodgkinson, Gemma Reekie, and Georgia Bell. Very good performances by the three British ladies. Over the hurdles, not quite as fast in Gainesfield, 12.42 for Grace Stark, but still in our limit for being included in the top list. For the 100 hurdles, of course, humongous performance by Femke Bol in London, 51.30. That's the fourth fastest mark of all time. Of course, the two world records by Sydney McLaughlin and then Femke's own 50.95. So that really is going to be a great, great race. Russell Clayton, second in London, was far behind with 53.24. And in the 100, 4x100 relay, there was a world lead for the British team with Dina Asher-Smith, Imani Lansicott, Amy Hunt, and Daryl Nata, clocking 41.55. Best women's performance of the year is now, as we saw, high jump world record by Jaroslava Maguchik, which is worth 1,319 points. So Javier, the season is now well underway and we can look back at all of 2024. So tell us, what were your three favorite athletics moments so far this year?
Well, hard to pick, but certainly, for fans, naturally, because there are more track events that we have in field events, so we may have a tendency to certainly look at what happens on the track, and it's been obviously electrifying performances. This is a season with a lot of global championships from cross country in Belgrade, and of course we had a wall indoor. So there's been quite a delight race walking as well. I would say, I was really delighted to see Jaroslava Mahushit, we just mentioned, with her 2 meters and 10. This is a world record by Stefana Kostadinova dating back to 1987. So again, to finally get it, I know she's been so consistent over the past few years, and finally getting that record, it was really a delight. And I remember when that happened in Paris. By the same token, the same day when Faith Kipyegon also erased her own world record at the 1,500 meters. So that's an impressive, of course. Faith Kipyegon looking to add a third consecutive Olympic gold medal in the 1,500 meters. You mentioned Sydney McLaughlin as well. She's back from, obviously, she had a bit of an off season last year, didn't compete much, did not defend her world crown in the 400 meter hurdle. So it's great to see her back. Not too many races, but good enough, and she didn't do much to actually get her. We already knew, as with her opener at over 200 meters in a personal best, that she was going to be something special, and I'm glad that she's back in top form with that excellent world record by Sidney McLaughlin. And there you have it on the screen right now, from 50.68 at the exact same venue down to 50.65 now in Eugene, Oregon. And of course, the young Legna, of course, keeping the family tradition. Obviously, his father, a 73-meter thrower. Obviously, this record also dating back to the 80s as well, with Schultz back in the late 80s. So it's great to see, obviously, that family tradition in an event that, of course, a lot of those records date back to that era of the 80s, and it's great to see that young talent and to finally be able to master the 2-kilogram implement. It's great to see also, in the men's triple, as we pay tribute to Christian Taylor, that we have obviously two Cuban-born athletes now competing for European nations. In the photo right now, Jordan Diaz obviously had a promising junior career at under 20, and now obviously joining that 18-meter club at 18-16. So that it really bodes well for these young athlete, coached by another another great 9-time world and 2000 Olympic champion, Ivan Pedroso. Obviously, also he's the mastermind of Yulimar Rojas of Venezuela, the Olympic champion in this discipline. Yulimar obviously underwent surgery, will not defend her title. But of course, this is not going to be on only Jordan Diaz with Pichardo, or another Cuban-born athlete, an 18-meter club member, also jumped 18 meters at the European Championships. And of course, he will try to defend that Olympic title won in Tokyo 3 years ago. It's going to be a great battle, another delight. And there will be other men as well, like Fabrice Zango as well of Burkina Faso. This is going to be really exciting. He's another 18-meter performance, so it's I'm sure that will peak when it matters most. I think in essence, we'll never have enough time to kind of talk about it, but really what's impressed me the most, yes, an understatement if I wouldn't mention other great performances on the track, but it's great to see also field events taking center stage. And like we said, if I have to pick one, Yaroslav Mahuchik with that world record at 2:10. Impressive performance, and of course, a bright future for this young Ukrainian high jumper.
Thank you, Javier. So we spoke a little bit about under 20 and under 18 athletes, and they also recorded some great performances over the past fortnight. So let's take a look, starting with the under 20s. Now, in the 400 meters, of course, Quincy Wilson's mark is also appears in the top under 20 marks, because as we said, he moves to number 2 in the all-time list. In the mile, there was very good performances in London by the Netherlands' Niels Laros. Now, his 3:49.45 is better than the number 3 in the under 20 all-time list, but he has the number 2 mark from last year. And Cameron Myers was not far behind with 3:51.6, which is only 1/100th of a second slower than his own number 5 mark in the all-time list, which he also set last year. Among the women, in the 100-meter hurdles, Karika Hill of Jamaica, 12.85 in Luxembourg in Schifflange. That would be an equal number 9 in the under 20 all-time list, but she already has the number 3 mark from last year. In the hammer throw, Jiale Zhang of China with 64.49 moves to number 3 in the under 20 all-time list. And in the 400 meters relay, the Monteverde Academy with 3:31.68 moved to number 13 in the under 20 all-time list. Now, the under 18, we saw there were a lot of very good marks at the European under 18 championships. So these lists were shaken up a little bit more, but not only from Banska Bystrica. There's performance which is not yet in the World Athletics list, and I only saw this later, so I didn't include it. But at the USATF National Junior Olympic Championships in College Station on 28 June, there were some great performances in the 100 meters. Braden Williams with 10.14 moves to number 4 in the all-time under 18 lists, and Tate Taylor with 10.23 moves to equal number 15. 400 meters, we've already mentioned Quincy Wilson. In the 110 hurdles on the 91.4 height in Banska Bystrica, 13.22 for Italy's Gian Daniel Duffy Escalona moves to number 14 in the under 18 all-time list. 400 meters, as we mentioned, Michal Rada moves to number 5 in the all-time list. In the decathlon, Tristan Conso, now he's had some great indoor performances. He totaled 7,549 points in the decathlon. That's maybe a little bit below what I expected. It's number 18 in the under 18 all-time list. Then the medley relay. Now, of course, this event is not contested very often, basically at the continental championships, given that now there's no more world championships for the age category. So Poland with 151.62 moves to number 6. Germany 151.82 moves to number 7. And Italy with 152.02 moves to number 8. Among the women, very good performance in Gainesville by Skylar Franklin in the 400 meters. With 51.01, she moves to number 6 in the under 18 all-time list. Another mark which is not in the World Athletics lists yet, in the 800 meters, Rin Kubo of Japan on 15 July in Nara. She clocked a 159.93, which moves her to number 8 of all time in the under 18 list. Then we go back to performances from Banska Bystrica, 110 hurdles, Laura Frličková, we've mentioned, and also Enni Virjonen, we have mentioned, always in the 100 hurdles. Shot put, Maria Rafaelidou, she had already thrown 18.70 meters this year. She did not go quite as far in Banska Bystrica, but still 18.45 is a very, very good mark. Hammer throw, we had mentioned Clara Hegemann. She strengthens her number 6 position in the under 18 all-time list. Polina Dzerożinska moves to number 7. Nova Kinast was a little bit below her best, but her performance of 71.72 is still better than the number 3 in the all-time, number 13, but of course she already has the number 10. And Pinja Kerha, whom we had also mentioned, with 71.44, she's better than the number 14 in the all-time list, but she already has number 12. Javelin throw, Vita Barbic with 61.07 moves to number 7 in the under 18 all-time list. Enni Virjonen, as we said, moves to number 5 in the heptathlon. Medley relay, again, a shake-up of the list as this event is not contested very often. Italy moves to number 3 in the all-time list. Poland 2:05.54 to number 4. And Great Britain with 2:05.90 moves to number 7. Now, Javier, under 20 and under 18 athletes have been super impressive this year. So who are your top picks? And you're only allowed one man and one woman.
Before I say their names, and of course, we had the World Under 20 Championships in Lima, Peru at the end of the year. It remains to be seen. It's so late in the season, especially for some. So many athletes might be studying university as well, so it remains to be seen. But I would say, Anna, as I'm reviewing some of the bios leading up to Paris, and I'm so delighted to see athletes that I saw at the U under 20 level, either in my native Cuba or at the Canadian Championships, also at the Pan American level, dating back to 2015, the World Juniors, also in Eugene, my first World Under 20 Eugene 10 years ago. I'm so delighted to see their progress right now, many of them making their Olympic debut or excelling. I remember catching the plane on the same plane with Afin Mu, who she was starting on her way back from the Pan American Under 20 Championships in Costa Rica 5 years ago. Again, a delight to see their progress, and I was reflecting on the European Under 18. A lot of talent in Europe. I can't wait to see their progress, and of course, that bodes very well for the health of our sport. Okay, only two names. I would say, I would keep one for the Americas, Quincy Wilson, 16 years of age. What a talent. He started at 45.7, already outstanding performance indoors at the high school championships. Now bringing that mark to 44.20 outdoors, and again, being a finalist at the Olympic trials in the United States. And folks, that means 3 races over 4 days. That's impressive how this young athlete conducted himself. And of course, his coach and his support staff will try to preserve this young talent to make sure that he stays in the sport healthy and for a longer period. And again, hopefully we can see him at granted it's been a long season for any high school athlete in the United States, so I'll grab that. We'll love to see him in Lima. And of course, when it comes to long distance runners, I have to say Birke Hailom, of course, Ethiopia has always produced great performances, already with 2 world records this year. For her, she was a finalist indoors as we can see the photo here, the World Indoor Championships in Glasgow. She is the world title defender in the under 20. I saw her win in Cali 2 years ago in Colombia. That was in the 1,500 meters. But now she also running so well. That was actually, it would have been a world record at 3:53, 3:58 indoors. And of course, 14:23, waiting that record to be ratified as a world record in the 5,000 meters. A great performance by junior under 20 athletes. I can only mention 2. But as you saw that in the latest update from Anna's chart, there's quite a talent, not only in the Americas, in Europe, but I can see there's quite a healthy number of other athletes really shining in the under 20 category. Cannot wait to see their progress over the next few years.
Yeah, definitely. And Birke, of course, 2 world under 20 records this year, but she had already set one last year in the mile in Oslo. So when she was still an under 18 athlete. So really very, very impressive. And yes, you mentioned Quincy Wilson with his indoor performance. 45.76 is actually the fastest ever run indoor by an under 18 athlete. So fantastic. And he's just progressed so much. He started this season in March with 45.19, then moved to 45.13, and then, of course, 44.94, and then 3 world records, making the U.S. pool for the
relay.
mile relay.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, full second improvement. And, as impressed as we are, I'm always, cautious about how well we can preserve. And I'm sure there's quite a lot of, wisdom to preserve these young talent. We have some precocious athletes across many, many other countries just to make sure that their career continues to evolve. As they, especially in the U.S. and in North America and also in Europe, they also navigate their university years. It's very demanding from the any U.S. In terms of competing indoors and outs. And obviously that's one consideration that many athletes, some of them, early on, as Noah Lyles, even Sidney McLaughlin, some of them forwent their collegiate years and then went pro. for the purpose of maybe competing less and maybe preserving those peak years. Some folks peak at a younger age, some others blossom at a later age. That will depend on the sport. But it's really delighted to see that talent and from Quincy Wilson. And like I said, whether it's at the World Indoor, at the World Under 20 Champs later this summer in Peru, or down the road even competing at home, we can't wait to see him and other U20 athletes excel and in the upcoming weeks and months.
Thank you, Javier. So we're almost at the Olympic Games. It started, of course, but not with our sport. So tell us, Javier, which athletes do you think are the safest bets for glory in Paris from the Americas? Not the US, because we've already discussed them in a previous show.
Well, certainly, best bets for a top position. Obviously, the Canadian hammer throwers are looking very solid with Ethan Kasberg and as well as Cameron Rogers. They're both world champions from last year in Hungary, and of course, they have continued to cement their some of their top contending. Ethan Kasberg now moving into 84-meter territory, and it was a delight to see him at the Canadian Championships with all throws over 80 meters. So that's a very young talent, obviously trained by another, former 1972 Olympic champion Bondarchuk, who now resides in Canada. So great to see that. And Dylan Armstrong, another Olympic medalist from Canada in the shot put. I would say certainly Jamaica has a, I saw the opening ceremony, I think 60 athletes in Jamaicans in athletics, maybe a handful in other sports. A very solid team. I'm excited, regardless of their performance. Another one of the greatest that we've ever seen in our sport. Obviously, with Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price competing in her fifth and final Olympics. It will be such a treat. She's in the photo here with obviously a top contender for gold, Shakara Richardson in the 100 meters down from last year in Budapest. And of course, Sharika Jackson, she's had some hiccups leading up to Paris. She will try to cement obviously her condition as the number one 200-meter runner in at least in recent history, very close to the world record. So I'm excited for her as well. And the talent, of course, Kishane Thompson, relatively new to the sport. But again, folks, they athletes that blossom at a later time. And even last year, when he only ran one, he was coming back from injury, and of course his coach. So we just want to make sure that we preserve him healthy. And of course, if you've seen leading up to Paris, so many stellar performances. That's what we want to see in an Olympic year. There are a few casualties. That's the nature of our high performance sport. Folks do get injured, or there will be some notable absentees in Paris. But it's great to see that primarily Jamaica that has produced so many sprinting greats. And of course, since the Usain Bolt step off the track back in 2017, it's great to see Kishane Johnson, Oblique Seville, Akeem Blake really performing at such a marquee event, the men's 100 meters. On top of that, of course, we have other athletes from the Americas as defending champions. Some the situation may have changed primarily in the men's 200 meters when Andre DeGrasse savoring Olympic glory 3 years ago in Tokyo. It will be obviously a tough ask with Noah Lyles. But again, those athletes will bring out their best when it matters most. And that's exactly what Andres has always done with 6 Olympic medals. By far, he's the most decorated male Olympian in Canadian history. We also have, obviously, we mentioned about Alisson dos Santos try to improve his bronze medal performance in the 400-meter hurdles for Brazil. And Damian Warner, of course, the defending Olympic champion in the decathlon for Canada. And I will end with a couple of athletes from the Spanish-speaking Caribbean. Obviously, Marilady Paulino, she rose to stardom, obviously, in Tokyo with that silver medal performance in the 400 meters, as well as the mixed relay over 4x4. And I'd like to see maybe the streak of triple jumpers. If you see, obviously, Catherine Ibargüen winning gold in Rio, obviously the best triple jumper that we've ever seen with Yulimar Rojas of Venezuela in Tokyo. She underwent surgery, but this event is very much a Caribbean or at least a Latin American Caribbean territory. I'm excited to see Cuba's Leyanis Perez as well in that attempt to continue to keep that supremacy of Spanish-speaking triple jumpers, whether Colombia or Venezuela and Cuba, Latia Fon, obviously, or Dominica, the World Indoor Champion. It will be a delight to see athletes as our best bets. I know I'm missing a lot of folks. We have obviously Hansel Parchman as well, of Jamaica's defending champion. There are so many names out there, so it's going to be quite a treat, Anna, to see athletes from the North Central American Caribbean region together with their U.S. Neighbors excel in Paris. So the clock is ticking, and I can't wait for that those emotions to start later this week. And of course, Kimberly Garcia of Corleone. I was there at Eugene, Oregon, where she won the double in race walking. She's had a terrific season, and of course, she would like to really erase that disappointment from Tokyo and win Peru's first ever Olympic medal in athletics. And of course, she's has had a beautiful, a tremendous season thus far. And again, as we're talking about race walking, we also have a brand new event, which is the marathon relay walk. So Kimberly already was part of that group with Cesar Rodriguez. And that will be another event with Caio Bonfim and, of course, Daniel Pintado. There's quite a wealth of race walkers from Latin America. And that is basically what kicks off athletics on Thursday. So I will be waking up very early to really enjoy that race walking. And like I said, there's so many names to mention, and I'm delighted to see how well positioned these athletes are from the Americas to excel and contend for Olympic glory with the rest of the world.
Thank you, Javier. So as you said, yes, the clock is ticking, and finally athletics at the Olympic Games is about to start. So the opening ceremony already took place on 26 July, and over 70 of the flag bearers came from athletics. So they include Olympic champions like Gianmarco Tamberi and Mutaz Barshim, Portugal's Jasmine Camacho Quinn, Canada's Andre de Grasse, Yulimar Rojas, who was the Venezuela flag bearer, even though she will not be able to compete. Also world medalists like Nigeria's Tobia Musan, Marie-Josée Talou Smith for Côte d'Ivoire, and Shanika Ricketts for Jamaica. Young star Puripol Bunson for Thailand, and race walking veteran Ana Cabecina for Portugal. Budapest silver medalist Flor Ruiz for Colombia and Arshad Nadim for Pakistan. Those are two really interesting throwers. Now, bizarrely, I think Kenya selected Ferdinand Omanyala, whose only global title came at the 2022 Commonwealth Games, over super champions like Faith Kipyegon and Eliud Kipchoge, but their choice.
Absolutely, Anna. No, it's great a reflection of how the position of the role of athletics among 70 nations, as we saw at the opening ceremony on the 26th. What a delight to see for the first time in history the opening ceremony outside the stadium. But again, and even athletes who do not necessarily have that global predominance, but also the fact that smaller island nations from the Caribbean, the Pacific, to see how much athletics is being valued to the point where athletes are being selected as flag bearers. That means a lot, and like I said, it's a very global sport, and of course Paris will not be deception. And now with the added value of bringing fans back to the stadium at the Stade de France is going to be an electrifying 10 days of athletics starting on August 1st. And that will continue to cement athletics, leading role in the Olympic movement. And I'm sure, as judging from what we've had leading up to Paris this season in terms of performances, and I'm glad that many other our global stars are arriving healthy to be able to again provide really the climax after this 3-year preparation after Tokyo 2020 to really. Enjoy the Olympic glory, and then we'll see obviously some confirmation of some of the big names that we just talked about today in today's show, but also a lot of folks that we haven't really had the time, but I'm sure they will excel when it matters most and make their respective countries proud. Can't wait.
There's two more athletes that I'd like to mention. One is Mongolia's 42-year-old Serod Bat Ochir, who will be competing in his record 6th Olympic Games. Quite amazing. But even better is France's Mélina Robert Michon, because she, at 45 years old, she will be competing in her 7th Games. And of course, she is one of the athletes who read out the oath at the opening ceremony. Now, as the excitement grows before the start of athletics in Paris, there's unfortunately some sad news as two athletics great have left us. We won't be able to pay full tribute, but these two champions deserved to be mentioned here. One is triple jump world record holder Józef Schmidt of Poland, who passed away aged 89. He was Olympic champion in 1960 and 1964, and he was the first athlete to jump over 17 meters in competition. So really an amazing person. And a day earlier, Spain's distance runner Mariano Haro had passed away at 84. He won silver at 4 editions of the World Cross, as well as 27 Spanish titles. He'd, on an international level on track, he'd finished 4th in Helsinki at 10,000 meters and 6th in 1976. So two great gentlemen of the sport. May they rest in peace. Mm-hmm. So let's look now at upcoming events as we reach the end of our show. And of course, it's all about the Olympic Games. So we're going to totally ignore anything else happening because Paris is where it all focuses from the 1st to the 11th. And this time, the last event on the program is the women's marathon. Tradition has been shaken up a little bit. So all eyes on Paris for the next, for 11 days from the 1st to 11th. So we're now at the end of our program, and it was great having Javier with us on the show.
Thank you, Anna, for this opportunity. I wish all our athletics fans and love athletics followers to really embrace and enjoy the Olympics. A great opportunity to learn, embrace the global nation of our sport once again, and celebrate every success coming from Asia, Oceania, Europe, anywhere around the world is athletic excellence, and I cannot wait to see those performances. Thank you again, and I wish you a very successful second week of the Games with the athletics starting in just a few days.
Thank you, Javier. Now it's going to be great. Really looking forward to it. Some absolutely fascinating duels, and yep, can't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. Thank you all for watching, and see you in 10 days on Love Athletics to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis of what's been happening in our sport over the past 10 days. And we should be able to post some athletes' interviews before then. So thank you, everyone. Ciao.
Ciao.